Welcome to another episode of the Gamers Roundtable with myself, LeafX. Are you counting how many times I introduced myself today?
There's one.
I am LeafX. And with me today, we usually have a cast of about 4 to 5 people, but today it is just I and Charles. Charles and I. So if you want to say hello, Charles, to the rest of the audience here.
Hello.
How are you doing today? What is life about?
What is life about? Life is about not being able to play Braum.
No, life is just simply about video games, bruh.
Life is simply about video games. Nah, new champion got really delayed and then in league, pushed back, and of course because the league community is so great, not playing him. It's just not playing the new champion for like the first 4 weeks as everyone demands to play them, or they'll just ruin the game for everyone else.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not playing LOL right now. Otherwise, I feel like
You're probably glad that you're not playing LOL ever.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's fun, but it's got its up and downs.
You read through my thinly veiled guys. I get that. Well, for anybody viewing in, we are, again, the Gamers Roundtable. We usually have more with us, but today, just the two. And we talk about games. We're going to talk about our news first off, and then after that, we're going to be talking about overrated games that we think are overrated. Remember, this is a personal opinion list, so you guys may disagree, and we want to know if you guys disagree. So if you disagree, make sure to comment on the YouTube video. I'm watching the comment tracker live, and we also have a live Q&A session. So if you're on Google+, make sure you join in and ask us questions. We'll answer questions to the best of our ability. And let you guys get in on the discussion with us. So to start off, we're going to talk about what we've been playing this week. I'm sure Charles, we've already got that answer from him, and I'm sure it's LOL. But if not, what have you been playing this week?
Ingress. They recently released higher levels in the game.
Oh, did they really?
So yeah, now I'm level 9 out of 16.
Okay, now I'm going to have to find space.
Yeah. See, now you have to fix your phone so that you can actually get it working.
For those unaware of what Ingress, sorry, I was just going to quickly let viewers that don't know what Ingress is a kind of like a live to like a one-to-one action RPG, IRL augmented reality game on your phone. I don't know if you have a better description for it than that. But basically,
yeah, I have something. Whenever somebody asks, I always say that it's an augmented reality. It's a massively multiplayer augmented reality faction-based territory control game.
That is, we need to find the short form for that. ITRRAS, it's just whatever it is. But basically, you go around, and you capture portals in real time. Certain monuments or art structures or things like that in the real world are portals, and you go and you capture them. And you fight against another faction. There's 2 factions. You just fight for control over territory. It's basically turf wars, but in real life, and use your phone. So I guess before this, you could only get up to level 8, and now, as Charles has shown on his phone there, this is the game. They've released, I guess, up to level 9. So
no,
that's
level 16.
Up to level 16. Oh man, that's intense. So that's I need to get it. The issue I wasn't playing was because my phone ran out of space. I'm going to have to delete a bunch of apps because that actually made me super excited that there's something to do now to get up there.
Finally.
I should be close to level 10 then, I think.
I don't know. How many badges do you have?
I don't know a lot.
APN badges.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
So you need certain badges to get to level... Oh,
yeah,
wow,
you need 2 golds and 5 silvers. Golds also count as silvers, in addition to counting as golds.
That's actually pretty exciting.
4 million AP.
Okay, I'm at like 2.9 million.
Yeah, so you're not there yet.
No, I thought they were doing the double AP to get to the next bit, but
well, 9 is 2.4, so it was as expected. But then there's this like really weird curve that it follows to get to the higher levels. Like I think level 12 is around 10 million. Around that? I don't know. I think it's a little bit less than that though. So,
that's way up there though.
But people were expecting it to be somewhere much higher.
That's true. Well, that's not bad then. Well, I'm gonna have to get that back and get working on it again because I've been slacking just because I didn't have it on my phone. But that's super exciting. Hopefully, you'll see me get online again in the next few days. If I can find enough stuff to delete.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, your work portal has been a P8 for like 2 weeks now.
oh, of course. When I'm not playing, it's what I need it to be. And as soon as I join back in, it's gonna be gone the next day. I can
Yep.
guarantee you it. Awesome. Well, that's super exciting. So I'm gonna get back into Ingress. On my end, I've been playing, as you can see behind me, actually, in the background, you can see, besides the mess that's over here, you can see some Smash Brothers going on because that's what I've been playing. I've been playing Smash because this past weekend I recently went to a tournament called Get on My Level up in Toronto, and
Toronto.
it is classified now as the biggest Smash Brothers tournament in Canada, with just over 300 people in attendance signed up. So it was absolutely massive. I didn't make it out of the bracket because I've got a lot to learn before I can do any better. But I've been practicing and getting better, and hopefully maybe I can compete in some of my tournaments that are run out of here and play some better people. But I just kind of want to talk about. As you know, I've always been an advocate for esports, and I love competitive gaming. And it's generally always been online that I do my competitive gaming. If not, I'm in my house having some brews with friends playing Call of Duty, and that's the extent as it's gone. I've done a little bit of game battles. Now, going to an actual venue and experience like this, as you know, I run my tournaments, but I never play in them, so it's a different experience being a TO, a tournament organizer, and actually being a contestant and playing in the tournament. And I gotta say, it just validates my opinion on esports and how amazing it is to actually go out to a venue, play, even just watch some of these players play against each other and fight. It's such an incredible experience because, especially at least with the Smash Brothers community, the Smash Brothers community is so nice. Like yeah, they're all gamers that you'd expect to be like antisocial and nerdy and that, but everyone is down to earth and fun to talk to. Half the time there, I should have been playing friendlies and getting better, but I was just sitting there talking to people because everyone was so enjoyable to talk to. Like it was a fun experience. Now, Charles, have you ever been to any kind of venue tournament? Like, have you gone to any tournaments, like LAN parties, stuff like that?
I've gone to LAN parties, but never any actual like real structured tournaments. I do enjoy video gaming as like a social activity where you would just go to somebody's house or somebody will plan. I've got a friend who plans I think semi-annual LAN parties, one in the summer and one near their birthday. And what they'll do is they'll at the last one that I was at, we got a mini keg
Yeah.
and we just had a keg at the
In the
house,
middle of the room,
played
yeah.
video games for like 2.5 days. Ordered pizza in, like just spend time with friends, play video games, have a few drinks, have a great weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Like it's fun. It's a different experience. Like it's fun to play online and be like, if you want to drop out, you can drop out and you're on your own. But it's also great to hang out with friends and play games. And that's what this tournament was for me. I was able to go and hang out with friends. Even some of these top level players who are really famous in the community. For instance, Mango. He ended up coming over to the hotel, hanging with us and talking with us for a bit. And just hanging out. And the next day, my friend was hanging out with him all day. So it's cool to see even these top level players still be so down to level. I mean, I think there were a few that like usually banned from these tournaments, but there are a few that can be bad. There's always the bad apple, but these top level players are still down to earth and able to come up and talk with you, or they're approachable and you can go talk to them. It's something that's really cool too. But yeah, it being an MLG sponsored tournament, it was huge, it was massive, and it was super fun. And one of my favorite things is even at the end when I'm out, and the second day I had nothing to do. I could have just sat around and done nothing because I was out of bracket, or I wasn't in the bracket. And sitting at the end just watching all the top players compete for that first place prize was super fun. And it's funny, actually, at one point, if you go to the streams, Video Game Boot Camp, give a shout out to them. Video Game Boot Camp was streaming it, as well as EMG, Even Matchup Gaming. Another shout out to them. They're both streaming it, but on the Video Game Boot Camp on the LG.TV stream, they actually had Conran says hello Conran inside there.
Hello.
Yeah, watching it, they had a stream, so they had webcams, so you could actually see the players' faces. But at one point, Hungrybox stood up, and the camera was still pointed the one direction, and it was pointed at me. So you can actually watch me if you go on Video Game Boot Camp and watch some of the last matches. You can see me in my purple shirt, just sitting there sneezing my face off because my allergies are bad, and just like rubbing my nose. It's extremely attractive and professional. But yeah, you can just see me sitting there sneezing my face off. My nose is just red like Rudolph. But it was funny. And there's 10,000 views on the one of the video that I was watching. So there's a lot of people that got to see me blowing my nose into air. So it's fun. But it's, again, super experience. Now, there was a little bit of a bad thing, and I do want to just kind of mention this because I'm a little upset about it. And again, to say that there are some bad apples in the community, but I want to say overall, I want to point out that the community is good and it's fun. But over the weekend, I brought up a bunch of Smash Brothers themed shirts to sell, designed by my buddy Ben Ruby. Conran, if you have a question, feel free to ask it. Once I finish the story here, I'll answer it for you. Ask away. The experience was good, except for the fact that I had these shirts up there and my laptop, because I also helped with some of the organization and registration. And overnight, from the Saturday to Sunday, it all went missing. So I had about $2,000 worth of stuff gone missing that nobody knows where it went. I guess one of the doors at the back had been left open overnight, and whoever took the stuff walked past the thousands of dollars of video equipment to get to my stuff out the other room. They really liked my shirts, I guess. I guess that's the one flattering thing, is that I guess the shirts were so good, someone passed thousands of dollars of video equipment to steal $800 worth of shirts.
Can't believe people.
I know, so it's unfortunate, but you know what? I'm gonna keep my head up and get past. I'm not gonna let them ruin the whole experience. That's why I said in the end it was still an amazing experience, and I'd do it again. I wouldn't get my stuff stolen again, but I would definitely go to a tournament like this again. And it just further, as I said, it further solidified my opinion on esports and how amazing they can be. And even the friends I was with, they said that it was probably one of the best weekends they've had. You ready to say something?
Oh, I've just had a sort of comment a while ago where you said that a lot of the people in the community are just really good. I've heard a story of a couple of people from the Laurier CSL team a couple of years ago where they were just practicing and doing 2v2s online on Battle.net. They run into, at the time it was Liquid Huck, doing twos with some other random person. And now Liquid Huck is from this region. Or he's EG Huck now, I think, or maybe he's some other Huck, but he's a famous Protoss player, StarCraft 2. And at the beginning of the game, the guys recognized them, and apparently he had recognized them as being from the Laurier, CSL team. Yeah. And at the beginning of the game, they made a friendly wager where if Huck and his partner won the match, then they would have to go on Team Liquid forums and post some inflammatory comment and probably get banned. But for a short duration, Huck assured them of. And they said, okay, fine, but if we win, you take us for dinner. You take us to the Mandarin. And Huck and his partner actually lost this match.
Oh, wow.
So sure enough, he's like, okay, fine. He's like, shit, I lost. He's like, so Mandarin? He's like, God damn it. Okay, fine.
Is Huck actually? Where's Huck from?
He's from Cambridge.
No way.
Yeah, he's from Cambridge.
How did I not know this?
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know this.
No, he's from Cambridge, Ontario.
Because I know Huck.
He's a super famous Canadian Protoss player. He's top 3 control in the world.
That's why I'm saying I know who Huck is. I did not realize he was from this area. That's
Oh
actually
no,
really
no,
cool.
he's from Cambridge.
Sweet. I'll be going to his place and getting signatures. I'll be selling them for $10 each. If anybody wants to
He's
check
in
my
Korea
Twitter
now. He's got a train, man.
account. Sorry, Conrad. I mispronounced his name apparently. I'm terribly sorry. I can't hear you, so I won't be able to fix it. So I'm just gonna call you KW from now on, if that's cool. You're my K Dubs. So feel free to ask that question again if you're not upset about me mispronouncing your name. I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, back to the point that, as you said, yeah, there are, again, I think the reason sometimes the communities get a bad rep in esports is because a lot of people are online, and that's where you're going to get a lot of the little poop heads. Because they're behind they're behind a computer and they think they're all that, and they can say whatever they want. And that's where the issue comes from. When people are meet face to face, they're not going to do that because they don't want to get their butt kicked, right? So some of these kids end up, again, I feel like it is a lot of the younger group, but there are some older guys who could be complete jerks too. But a lot of the younger group just haven't grown up yet, so online they're able to say whatever they want and have no repercussion to what they're saying or doing, right?
And those kinds of people don't get invited to tournament events.
Exactly, and if they do come out, those things aren't going to fly, man. And that's what, even when my stuff got stolen, a lot of the other EMG staff that was running the tournament, they said, man, if you end up finding the address of whoever did this, you let us know and we'll all show up there. Like, I can just imagine a bunch of smashers with their GameCube controllers whipping around, just ready to take out whoever took the stuff. But everybody backs each other up, and even the guy running the tournament said that from whatever we make from the venue, for the venue charge, the venue fee, he wants to give back to the people that helped and hopefully pay people, maybe buy them dinner or whatever you can do with it. But which he didn't have to do. So it's a great community, and that's what I love about meeting face to face with people and playing. And that's why I'm doing the tournaments I do, because I think it's something that needs to happen in a lot of places. At least our place doesn't have something like that, and I know a lot of places don't. So if there's people out there listening, and you have an urge to do some esports and play some games with people competitively, find a local bar or something and go out and say, hey, we want to run this every once in a while. And I'm sure a lot of places would be down for it, because if it's a day that's not busy and they can pull in extra business, they'll take it. And they'll pull you in, and they'll humor what you got to put in there. And if it's good enough, they'll keep you going. And again, I've shown from my tournaments that it's something that is definitely sustainable for a bar atmosphere. So it's super fun. And again, Charles, you got to come out to one of them. I haven't seen you yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the worst. I'll need to actually come out.
Conrad wants to know my name. My name's LeafX, of course. My actual name is Brody. So if you want to find me, stalk me on some social networks, you can just search Brody Moore and I'll show up. LeafX actually finds more than my actual name, to be honest. If you search LeafX, you'll find everything about my life on Google. Don't know if I should advertise that on a public forum. But yeah, that was my weekend, and I thought it was super fun, super good experience. And other people should look into doing it if you want to help your community grow in your area. Super fun. But with that, I think we should get on to some news and discuss some things happening in the video game industry this week, or this past week at least. Start off with some smaller ones. I guess they're all kind of slightly important, at least the ones I picked. There are a couple of releases or announcements of games, but the ones I'm going to go into is the first one I'm going to talk about. Unreal Tournament. Charles, have you ever played Unreal Tournament?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Which ones did you play?
I think I ended up playing Unreal Championship or Unreal Tournament 2.
I played a lot of
UT3.
3.
I think I own UT3 somewhere.
I played a lot of 3 on my PS3. But regardless, there's a new Unreal Tournament coming out, so it's been a while. And the cool thing about this, doesn't matter that it's Unreal Tournament, the best thing about this is that it's going to be community-driven and open-sourced. Epic has said that the that the game is just starting development. They haven't started on it yet, but they're going to build it ground up with the community. So if you go onto their forums and start talking about the game, saying this should be added, this should be added, they're going to be listening to people. It's going to be open source, so you can help out with everything. Just a pure community-driven thing. And the best part about it is it's going to be free. Not free to play, you know, like that term that we know nowadays. Not free to play, but free. It's going to be entirely free. You're not going to have to buy things inside or all this stuff. The way they're going to be making their money off of this is that to help develop, if you want to do more than just give directional input, is you're going to have to purchase, obviously, the Unreal Engine the Unreal Engine 4 software to dev kit to be able to build stuff and assets for the game. So that's how they'll make their money. And they're also, as far as I saw, going to have a it's going to be moddable. That's the thing, is they're building it with modders in mind. But there's going to be a marketplace for mods where you can make your mods free, and you can do that too, or you can make people purchase your mods. So if you have something super good like the Ice Enhancer for Grand Theft Auto 3, you can make people purchase that through it and then install it through. So that's the model they're going for, and I honestly think it's brilliant.
Well, yeah, what they're doing is they're selling a technology. They're not selling a game or an experience. And you know what? Good on them. If they develop this great technology, they want to sort of get an open source sort of community push towards letting it. It works twofold. It gives the community what they want in the game. It also gives the developers more idea of what to put into their own engine.
Yeah, exactly. And sorry, just before we go on, K-Dubs wants to know what your internet name is, your tag.
I've got CStovetop on Twitter, CStove on Twitch if I ever decide to stream again, or Stovaking on League or Ingress or whatever.
So anything with stove in it.
Yeah, and it happens, I guess.
So CStove or Stovaking. I like Stovaking. That's a good one. But sorry, continue on. Unreal.
Unreal. Yeah. Well, I saw their business model for their engine. What they plan on doing is to be like, it's going to be X amount of money plus a percentage of like your sale price for the product.
Yes.
And it's like a small flat percentage. I think it's like 5% or something like that.
I forget what it was. We talked about it a few podcasts ago, so you guys, viewers, can go research that.
Yeah.
Go watch all all of our podcasts to find out which one it is.
Somebody else figure this out for me. I don't need to actually do my own research. But yeah, they're planning on selling the technology, not the game. And Unreal is known for, like, you know how Valve has the Source engine, Epic has the Unreal Engine. So they've gotten a lot of there's a lot of games that use the Unreal platform. What they're planning on doing is they're planning on making like a definitive Unreal Engine that they're going to release for people to develop on. And that's
for
perfect
Unreal? Well, yeah, that's the thing, is it's the Unreal Engine dev kit, like all the tools you need, and that's what they're selling. Initially, yeah, to help build the game, you're going to have to buy the thing, and I think it's like $14.99 a month or something. And
something really cheap.
Yeah, really cheap. So it's going to be good for the community, because if you got $15 to spare, you can help with development on a favorite game potentially of yours for $15 a month. Like that's nothing. That's like nothing. So I think it's brilliant, because they're also going to sell. You know how many people are going to be into helping develop a game that they've loved for how many years? Like, again, I loved the game when I played. I wasn't playing super competitively just because I wasn't super good at it, but I enjoyed playing the game with friends in that. And it was a good time. I met a lot of cool people online, and but for people to be able to find this game that they, or have this game that they love, and be able to help build the next one, I think is going to be awesome, because it's going to be a purely community-driven game that's going to, it can't, I mean, if people complain that it sucks, I will punch them in the face, because they built this game. If you're going to have any say on whether it sucks or not, you better have been in the forums telling them what they need to be doing, because if not, I think I think this style of building a game warrants no complaints. Because
Except
if
for
it
maybe
gets
people like 20 years in the future.
maybe, yeah, but when it initially releases, I don't even think this game should ever get a ratings. Like nobody should review this game because basically it's a community-driven game, and if you say it sucks, that means you're saying you suck.
Yeah, it means that it's like this game is terrible. It's like then you are wrong.
Or you're saying the community sucks, and that's something you don't want to do. You do not want to piss off the people reading your reviews. So it's, I think Unreal's put them, or Epic, sorry, has put themselves in a pretty good situation at this point. So as long as they can actually moderate what's coming in and what's supposedly real suggestions, what people are trolling, that's always the thing. You're going to get trolls saying do this, but it's the opposite of what people want. As long as they can moderate that properly and build a game that is based off the community, I think it's going to be. It's taking that whole pre-alpha idea, like pre-order alpha, like what Minecraft did, to a whole new level. It's like you can pre-order this game that's going to be free, but you can pre-order this game and then build it. Basically, you're buying a game and then you're building it. It's not even out yet. Not even started development. So I think that was a pretty cool thing. Yeah, so that's Unreal or Epic's big move right now, and I think it's honestly a great idea. So moving on, next we have EA. So we're going from good news to not so good news. EA has announced, as we all know, GameSpy is shutting down, and with that goes a crap ton of online services because a lot of games use GameSpy. So GameSpy is shutting down, and EA is not developing their own online support systems for this. There are going to be a lot of third-party developers, or sorry, online servers and that popping up. I would presume. I mean, there's already some for a lot of these games, but there's 50 games that are going to be shut down because GameSpy is being shut down. So that's a lot of online activity being stopped instantly, and that includes things like Battlefield. You got Battlefield 2, 1942, Crisis 2, FIFA, all the way up to FIFA Soccer 10. Oh, sorry, that's for the DS. But there's a lot of games being shut down here. I don't know if you've heard any of the games that you've played online being shut down.
It's EA, so I don't play EA games anymore. I mean, I probably should drop my ridiculous, blockade on them because I kind of want to try out Dawngate, but let's see here. Battlefield, Crisis. Oh no, whatever am I going to do about Crisis being dropped for online support?
Do you play?
I own the game. It's in a... I threw it over there like 20 episodes ago. It's still over there somewhere.
That's the one you threw and you never got back.
Yeah, it's gone. It's lost forever.
That's smart.
No, it's not actually lost forever. It's over there somewhere, but
well,
Rock Band.
You better play now because it's being shut down soon. Yeah, Rock Band, the Beatles, is being shut down. But yeah, there's an extensive list which I'll try to put under the YouTube video once that's up. But yeah, there's an extensive list of games that are being shut down.
Oh, that's a crazy list there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn shame that Rock Band is being stopped.
I know, right? I need to play online. I don't even own the game. Guitar Hero FT dubs. But Cage, actually, Von Reaper, who actually usually joins in, or used to join in on our podcast, but I guess got busier because we switched the day, has a question for us. So hello, Cage. It's nice to see you again. Cage says, I'm wondering about H1Z1. Not sure if you guys covered this before, but I'm wanting to know what your thoughts are on it. As in, do you think it will be a good game? Here's the thing. Until now, I hadn't really heard much on it. Charles, do you know what H1Z1 is?
Let's see. Wikipedia says
Okay, you say you do not.
April the 11th.
It's an MMO by Sony. But basically, from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be like Daisy and Rust
Yeah.
to that extent. And the fact that it's not out yet, I don't know if it's going to be good. I haven't actually watched Starry Cage. I haven't watched any trailers on it yet. There's a lot of those games out there, and they all seem to do one thing good, but not any of them do everything good. That seems to be my experience. With Daisy, it seems to be a fun, full, immersive experience, whereas Rust has more crazy things going on, and it's more, I'd say, fun to play in that sense, where it's just wackiness compared to that. But they've all got their own, again, as I said, thing that they do well, but nothing is perfected yet. So I'll have to take a look at H1Z1. Unless you can tell us a little more about it, but I haven't seen too much myself on it, and Charles, you said you haven't either.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia article here because that's a totally reliable resource. Says released late 2014, PS4, Windows, announced April 2014. So yeah, we hardly have any information about it yet. I'd say wait until after E3 for any kind of like definitive information on a game like this.
It's actually kind of cool. What they did though is, I guess SOE's president went on Reddit and did had a public discussion on how they should monetize the game. So that's kind of cool that they're crowdsourcing ideas to the crowd. It seems to be a trend lately. And I like it. I like the fact that I think Minecraft started that whole idea of going to your user base to find out what they want. And it's kind of evolved over the past few years to the point where, as we saw Unreal doing this whole you're building the game kind of idea. And again, as this, as he's going out and saying, hey, what do you guys want? How should we monetize this?
Well, yeah, that's like the next logical step. I mean, if you're crowdsourcing all of your ideas, might as well crowdsource the development too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's actually a pretty... I like the idea that a lot of companies do this, and I hope to see more of it come soon. I think a company that really needs to do that is Nintendo. Nintendo really needs to start shaping up. But speaking of Nintendo, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Apparently, Nintendo is to sell new consoles for emerging markets. Now, I think we already kind of had an idea of this. The fact that they want to move into more of the health department of things, and start getting on that piece of I'm missing words, but yes, they're going to that kind of stuff, and it looks like they're not going to be releasing, as they said, stuff for mobile. That's not something they want to do. So I guess they're looking at new platforms to release their stuff on. That's kind of, I guess, away from consoles, but still is. They said they're a console business, and they've done that for 30 years. Here's Iwata said itself: the smartphone market is probably more competitive than the console business. We have had a console business for 30 years, and I don't think we can just transfer that onto a smartphone model. So it sounds like they're going to start to shift and try new things. One of the things they mentioned, and this is kind of weird, just to give you an idea of their models, is, as everybody knows, Skylanders. It's you take your little guy and you place it onto an NFC pad, and it transfers that guy into the game. Now, we all know that the Wii U has that little NFC piece on the gamepad. So I guess the idea that they're coming up with, or taking and utilizing, is they're going to have figurines that you can place on the gamepad to transfer them into the games you're playing. So they're going the Skylanders model, at least. Who knows how many other models they have that they're branching out on, but this is one of the ones that they've mentioned, is that they're putting figurines into the game based off the NFC technology, same as Skylanders and Disney's what is it called again? Infinity, that's the one. But basically, yeah, Iwata said, we want to make things new. We want to make new things with new thinking rather than a cheaper version of what we currently have. Which sounds kind of funny, because that's basically the basis of
and
Well,
Infinity.
it's the basis of Nintendo. You know, they make a product and then they release cheaper versions of it throughout the year. You know, we look at the 2DS, you look at the 3DS XL, all these different things. But yeah, so we want to, rather than make a cheap version, the product and price balance must be made from scratch. So basically, and that still doesn't make sense. They want to do it from scratch, and they're just copying another idea. But we'll see when it comes out. But it's still not going to be mobile, and we're not going to see that for a very long time. At least not until Iwata is either gone from the company or he realizes that he was wrong. But yeah, Nintendo looking to do new things. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of stuff in the next few months from them with what they've got cooking up. Nintendo.
Nintendo don't want to do mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we're going to move over to Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of backtracking again. This is Microsoft's thing to do. This is their trademark, is to backtrack. You know, we all saw what they did last year with their E3 stuff, completely turned around on everything in the past years. And good on them, you know, good on them that they're understanding and listening and realizing what they did was wrong. But with this next one, I kind of am insulted by it. I think gamers should be insulted by it, is that Microsoft is going to be releasing a Kinect-less Xbox for $399. So Xbox One will now come without Kinect for $399. So huge price drop, actually putting it cheaper in Canada than the PS4, unless it's going to be $450 as well in Canada. But in the States, it's now price matched with the PS4, and you don't have to purchase a Kinect with it. Now, I say that this is slightly insulting because they pushed it into our faces that you cannot have a proper Xbox experience without the Kinect. It just doesn't work. It won't happen. They can't do it. And now they're saying, oh yeah, we can do it. No problem.
Oh no, isn't this the same thing of you cannot have a proper Xbox experience without a broadband internet connection constantly, all of the time, always online?
Yeah,
like,
and
isn't this the exact same thing that they did before? Yeah, like they're backpedaling to try to make more sales because they're not making the sales that they really want.
And they thought that if they kept hard on their initial policies, that people would eventually buy into it, and they didn't.
If they kept hard on their policies, people would eventually buy it the following year. When Christmas comes around, there's enough games for the damn console.
Well,
now, there's not enough games because it's still a newly released console, and they're just like, shit, we have to push units, and nobody wants to buy the Xbox One because we don't have good exclusives that people really, really want, and they don't want to shell out that extra money for the Kinect, so let's gut the Kinect from the Xbox One, and hopefully it'll push more units. Next up, they'll be removing the controller, the hard drive, the processor.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, though. It's kind of just a kick in the nuts saying that it should have been that way from the first. There should have been a price drop almost immediately after they realized what they'd done, but they wanted to push it in our faces and say it couldn't be done, and now they're showing that exactly it could be done.
Well, what they could have very well done is kept pushing it with the Kinect, and eventually throughout the year it's like, yeah, we're operating on a loss, but once we have good exclusives, we can do a price drop, package it with an exclusive, and like make a huge launch push for it, and people will suddenly buy it, especially if the push is for Christmas and it's better than PS4's push exclusives.
Yeah, and I think initially they said the reason that they couldn't do it is because there were too many technical hurdles to get over for taking the Kinect out or whatever.
Technical hurdles for removing a peripheral?
I guess that the Xbox experience, the Kinect was integral to the whole experience. But it's even if there were technical issues and they got over it, they should have at least been transparent and saying, yeah, we're working on it. But they didn't. You know, they never had any sort of indication of that.
Well, if they told us that they were going to eventually launch the Xbox One without the Kinect, no one would buy the Xbox One until it was available without the Kinect. A lot of people found
that's fair. That's a fair enough
listening
statement.
Sort of thing. The Xbox One always listening, always available, to be invasive.
To be honest, that's actually a fair point. I didn't think of it that way. That if they had said something, yeah, people would have waited off.
They're just like, yeah, I don't want this thing to be spying on me all the time. What with the whole NSA scandals, the huge security things that are going on with the U.S. and the internet nowadays, no one would buy it because they're like, oh yeah, Microsoft is spying on us for the NSA.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part about this though is that it shows that if a community isn't wanting something, they're going to push, and it's not going to happen. And that's just been proven with Microsoft taking out the Kinect. The people really don't want that. They don't want. People want to buy an Xbox without the Kinect. They don't want to have that little eye always looking at them. And it shows that if you vote with your wallet, it'll happen. As Microsoft just showed us that people didn't want it, so now they're taking it out.
Hold on a second. I have a patch for all of the Kinect owners, like all of the Xbox One owners that have the Kinect. Here we go.
Yeah, and then your system shuts down saying, I can't operate it without seeing.
Are you still there? Hello?
Are you still there? Cage says apparently it's Bash Game Creators Day.
Hey, do you have any dirt on PS4 for us?
They're doing it to themselves. Yes, I do actually, and I'm gonna be unbiased. I'll have some dirt. The good thing, and I again unbiased, I'm going to turn around and say Microsoft did have something good come out of this. People that they're also going to be making Netflix, Hulu, and all those other subscription-based services not behind a paywall.
Wow, the thing they should have done in the first place.
You don't need an Xbox Live account anymore to watch Netflix that you've already paid for, which was one of the biggest anti-selling points, at least for me, because I use all these services for the Xbox. Now you don't need to have it to use it. And the fact that the Xbox was pushed at the beginning as also not just a gaming system, but an all-around video services box, but then you had to pay for something you've already paid for, was kind of idiotic in a sense. So it's good they're doing that, and they're going to take it one step further, and I applaud Microsoft for this one. They're going to be refunding people that only used the Xbox Live service for their Netflix, or they were only purchasing it because of Netflix and that.
That I will have to give them kudos for. That's something they don't technically have to do, but they're doing it anyway because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly, and that's a change for the sake of being good-hearted, and that's the difference between making the Xbox available without Kinect and price cut, and giving money back to people you don't have to give money back to. So it definitely makes a huge difference, and I applaud them for that.
Hey Eric, did Boston lose?
No, it's still the first period.
Oh, okay.
So for those that don't are listening in on hopefully iTunes soon, we're going to have this up on iTunes. I'm working on it right now. And you're listening, you're like, who's that strange, sexy voice that just joined us? That is Eric Miller right over there. He's watching the Boston and Montreal Game 7. Hello, Eric.
Hello there. What's going on?
Decided to give us a bit of his precious time and join in, so it's nice to see his face on the screen.
Yeah, well, when I messaged you before that I punched a hole through my laptop, I meant that 110%. So.
Did you tape it back together?
No, I went out and bought a new one.
Oh, that's what took you so long. Okay.
Did you lose that Hearthstone? Is that why you punched a hole?
No. It was a website that I use for work wasn't uploading correctly, and it's one of those spur of the moment things where I've never raged out on an electronic device. Like I've smashed a cell phone before, but I've never gone like ham on a computer before. And
we all know the real story is that his phone wasn't buffering.
How was it?
It felt really good.
Did you record it and upload it to YouTube?
No, I should have.
You made a mistake.
I freaked, and I was just like, God, I was like, this fucking computer, and then boom, and just laced it and went right through and cracked the. I hit it so hard that I hit it so hard that my hand went through the LCD and cracked the plastic in the back of the actual laptop part.
Do you have a evidence? Can you show us?
Oh yeah.
I want to see this.
Okay, we
While
need
he
to
goes
see
and finds that,
Can you see that?
I see a dent. I see
oh,
the
I know. I
frame
see
popped right off.
Yeah, the frame popped right through.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting like this whole like bullet hole, fist size.
Well,
going
when the
through
LCD's on, yeah, that's what it looks like. It's just this big black circle in the middle, and like spider webs everywhere.
Eric going ham.
Yeah, so I had to go out and buy a new laptop.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're not the only person who has to go out and buy a new laptop this week.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. If you didn't hear my story, I had my laptop stolen over the weekend at
No!
at the tournament I went to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Look at what much appreciation.
I know, right? Go and help with the tournament and have this happen. No, it was good. I'm getting over it. It's more sucks the data you lose on those things, right? When someone steals a video game system or a laptop or something, it's all those years of gaming. It's all those photos and all that other stuff that you haven't backed up because you never thought it would have happened. That really hits you, right? And that's the tough piece. Kind of relevant, irrelevant. Cage at the Size says apparently the PS4 now has a porn app. So Eric, you don't have to punch a hole through your laptop when your porn's not buffering.
Oh, okay. Well, that's also really good to know then too.
You just have to punch a hole in your PS4 instead.
Yeah. Well, the trick to that is you let the whole porn video load before you actually hit play.
Yeah. Go get some snacks.
Yeah, and then you won't have any buffering. You know?
Oh, that's good.
There's some truth to the trade.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was it for the main bit of news. The next thing I was gonna say.
Sony bashing.
That's what I'm saying. The dirt I have on Sony is that they said that Watch Dogs was going to be running at 1080p, 60 frames per second on the PS4.
Oh, I bet it's not going to.
It's definitely not going to. Ubisoft came out and told us that it's only going to be running at 900p at 30 frames per second.
Yep.
So that's quite the difference than what was originally quoted with Sony. Sony backtracked on their they backstepped on their statement and retracted that because of that. And if you want to know the Xbox, it's going to be running only at 720 at 30 frames per second. So not a huge difference from 900 to 700. But Ubisoft themselves, they said that obviously when making a game, you have to make certain sacrifices and you have to decide what's going to be best for the game. And they feel that they'd rather have a game at a steady, solid, locked-in frame rate of 30 frames per second than have it at 60 and dip down to 40 here and there and ruin some experiences, right?
You know, probably in 2 years when they finally get everything optimized, they'll be like, Watch Dogs remastered, 1080p, 660 frames.
Yeah, once they understand the hardware a little bit, and that's the difference between programming between two platforms is unless you have two separate teams working on the two separate games and optimizing them individually, they try to find a middle ground that's going to be the easiest to port to both, right? And that's why you look at games that are designed just for one system, oftentimes look better than games that are ported between two systems. Because
and this is also why a lot of console games look better than PC games, because you can't optimize for PC.
You can, it's just you can't optimize for every PC. You can optimize for one specific combination and rig, but you're right, you can't optimize for every PC. And that's why you look at games like Last of Us, where they're pushing that hardware to its absolute limits, because they understand it and they can optimize for one system. Right? They've put all of their efforts into one system. But yeah, that was the little bit of stupidness on Sony's part there. And that rounds up my bits of news this week. There are a couple other minor things, but those are the ones I had first and foremost. Again, I haven't been looking at the news too much just because I have been dealing with that tournament over the weekend, or or as Eric would say, tournament.
Yep. Why? How do you say it?
Tournament.
Oh, tournament. No, it's a tournament.
I'm picking up on your accent, and I actually sometimes accidentally, after some of our podcasts, I'll go talk to someone, and I'll end up saying words how you would say them with your slight little accent there.
Nice. Hey, by the way, stop sending me fucking NHL 14 party requests that I can't attend because it's
I thought we were gonna make the rules for that Eric has to attend in person.
Yeah, that is the rule, and that's why he's upset because I keep sending him invites to come play in the tournament.
I'm like, oh, cool, an awesome tournament that I can't go to. That nobody ever has things like that around here for. So
for people wondering,
what?
That's not far.
Dude, it's like it would be like 10 hours, 9 hours.
So ask Brody to like sleep on his couch or something.
Hey,
dude, do you know how far? Dude, that's a really far drive.
This past weekend, we had players from California, Ohio, New Jersey come up. No excuses.
You had people from New Jersey come up? Really?
It was an MLG sponsored tournament in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
I only partially helped with. I did registration and all that stuff. But it was a MLG qualifier, so that's why they came up. But no excuses. No excuses.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, so anybody in the area, too, in the Waterloo region area, or even outside, I think got someone from Hamilton coming down. We're having a NHL 14 tournament on June 1st at McCabe's Irish Pub. So make sure you check that out. Just go to Facebook and search Let's Play KW and join the group, and you'll find all the information there. We do tournaments every month, and it's pretty freaking sweet. But yeah, I guess after that bit of news then, unless you guys have something, we can get on to some of our discussion topics.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt you, but how is the video quality on this webcam? Is it any better than my old one? Can you tell?
Okay.
It looks good.
It's doable.
It's still awful. Okay.
No, it actually looks good. To me, it looks about the same as Charles, and he's got a really good camera.
Oh, okay, good.
I think it's just because Charles. Oh no, Charles looks better now.
Charles
always looks better.
Charles just stopped downloading things.
You get the PS4 app for that now. You need to download.
I don't have a PS4. I just have a TV.
Well then, I just have a TV. All right. Well, we're gonna get to some of our games. We're gonna just list a game, and we'll discuss the game. And then the next person can go instead of listing off our lists all at the same time. So that way, we're all energized and talking and discussing about things. So Eric, in the meantime, if you want to think of some overrated games, the games that you think other people love so much and you just think aren't that great, try to think of some now. Because Charles is going to start us off with a game that he thinks is very overrated.
Okay.
Try a game series. How about Final Fantasy series, with a couple of exceptions.
I gotta go.
Eric's out. Eric's like, I'm out.
What is this too hot for you to handle, Eric?
I can hang.
Okay, good.
Eric, remember, this is personal opinion pieces. So let's see what Charles has to say.
Personal opinion pieces. I liked 6. I liked 7. I think the protagonist from 8 was a whiny little bitch. I didn't play 9. I think 10, the protagonist is a whiny little bitch. I don't know what they've done with the series since then, but they just can't repeat the same magic that they had years ago. And it just seems to be going downhill, like 13 again, 13, oh god, why? Just they need to redo their whole formula because it seems like they've broke it.
So you're saying it's not that it's gotten repetitive, it's just that they fell away from what worked before.
Yeah, it's like their they redo their system for literally every game that they release. Like, I loved the materia system from Final Fantasy VII, despite the fact that it took way too long to grind at anything. I liked the way that combat was handled in Final Fantasy VII. I liked the way that combat was handled in Final Fantasy VI. Like, I like those games, but Final Fantasy VIII is just like, yeah, and now we're going to add in actual triggers that you can use during combat. And now we're going to have magic junctioning because I want to junction Ultima to my biceps or something like that.
Ultima Magic.
What?
Ultima.
And then it just fell off from there.
I honestly think that 7 was the last one that really did well. No, 9 was pretty good with magic. I don't know, like, yeah, I know
that 9 was okay. I just
the storyline in 9 was pretty good. There was a lot of like religious undertone to it, like most of them. But for me, like 7, 8, 9, 10 were really like the heyday of Final Fantasy, and then you're absolutely right. It pretty much turned into a 13 clone, like pretty much straight through. And 15 is being hyped, like really ridiculously crazy hype, but who knows what's going to happen.
Hey, maybe they'll make something worse than the Crystarium.
Oh God, I don't know if that's even possible.
So Eric, obviously as a Final Fantasy guy, what do you think of that? Like after 7, do you feel like it kind of went downhill, or?
Well, 7 had like the perfect battle system. I thought how they like. I mean, when you're looking at like the active time battle system, Final Fantasy did it probably the best. And they had, I just loved in 7 how you could craft like all the different materia into your weapons, and it would like give your weapons kind of like different powers. But it started to gravitate or pull away from that magical thing where you had different combinations of dark materia and ultima materia, and all these other kinds of stuff that you were putting into weapons and put on your cache, your caches and your different armor, and then it turned into like Street Fighter pretty much, where you're trying to get like 500 hit combos, and like it's just so stupid. Like, I just really appreciated it more because like you had to go into battles like thinking like, okay, I need this materia to resist fire. I need Sloga to slow down the enemy's attack bar. Like there were all these different combinations of things that you could do, and like while that's still a part of the new games, it's like 10% as opposed to it being like 80%. Back then, and it's just like a hack and slash type scenario. It's dumb.
Yeah, so I don't have much input.
I swear to God, dude, if Squaresoft, and like fans have been saying this forever, if Squaresoft or Square Enix or whoever the fuck they are now, if they were to take Final Fantasy, make a Final Fantasy VII clone with a new storyline, it would be like one of their all-time best-selling games, like guaranteed. They would make so much money if they went back to the old battle system, the old materia type thing, and just wrote a really good storyline. It's a no-brainer. Like, they would make so much dough, and I don't understand why they don't do that. There were people. I remember I was a part of a forum for a little while that were saying, and it was a huge Final Fantasy forum, and somebody had started a topic that if they did a Final Fantasy VII remake, just a remake, like a HD, with upgraded the graphics updated, maybe like an alternate ending, like go just tweak it like a little bit, People were saying that they would spend like over $100 for a copy of it, and like they had a poll, and it had like 64,000 votes of people that would pay over $100 for a copy of it.
That would be some decent cash money.
Would you just right there alone, like that's. And that was an American forum. Like, we're not even talking internet. Like, imagine how many they would sell in fucking Japan.
That's true. Yeah, see, I don't have much experience. And actually, thank you for this discussion, because I actually remember memory now from my childhood that I totally forgot I had. I remember going to my friend's house, I forget which friend, and playing Final Fantasy, I forget, it was on the NES. and
Oh, wow.
that was when popcorn chicken from KFC first came out. And his mom ordered a bunch of popcorn chicken. We just went up there and played Final Fantasy. But that is one of my last experiences with Final Fantasy. I think I again played Final Fantasy V on the SNES. I think it was maybe a
It'd be
couple
Final
years later.
Fantasy 6, I think. I don't think Final Fantasy 5 came out in North America.
No, 6 was on Super Nintendo.
Okay, so it was Final Fantasy VI that I was playing in on the SNES. Then a few years after that, but past that, I haven't played a Final Fantasy game. So I'm gonna have to kind of a little bit agree on the Overrated, but that's only because I haven't played it and I don't know, right? Like when I did play it, I wasn't super enthralled with it. But
I mean, dude, if you went back today and played Final Fantasy VII, you'd probably fall in love with the series all over. Like, you'd just reinvent it, you know? I mean, Charles, you played 7, right?
Oh, of course. I've played through it, beat 7, did a bunch of the optional things.
Yeah, you did probably like, what was it? The green, not Ultimate Weapon. Yeah.
Oh, the Emerald Weapon.
Oh,
the
Emerald,
Ruby Weapon.
yeah,
I beat
Emerald
those.
and Omega Weapon too.
Omega Weapon is not in that game, but there is Ultimate Weapon.
Ultimate. What's the red one at the bottom of the ocean?
That's the green one at the bottom of the ocean. The red one is in the desert.
Red one in the desert. Right. Okay, gotcha.
so what are these weapons?
They're
They're
not.
just like optional bosses.
Yeah, they're like these crazy monsters. Like it's nuts. Like I don't know. I just have so many good memories of that game. It's just you get so engrossed in wrapped, you know, in it because it's just so in depth.
That's what I'm wondering. If I were to
crazy.
go back, never having barely played any Final Fantasy and forgetting anything about it, do you think 7 would hold up if I went back to play it?
Well, the graphics would be terrible, but
Well,
the
yeah,
story
but I mean,
is good.
gameplay and
gameplay's
story.
great. It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, the graphics aren't, but it's not like you're playing an NES game, you know. Like you'd be able to deal. You'd be able to deal with it.
You'd be able to deal with it. Is it a good thing that I have to deal with something? Shouldn't I
Yeah.
enjoy it?
You would enjoy it.
All right.
You really would.
All right. All right. I'm gonna
It's
move
one of
on.
those games.
Sorry.
You start playing it, and then like you're 30 hours in, and you like don't want the game to end because it's that good.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that it doesn't end at 30 hours in.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna hit one on my list then. So games that I think are overrated. I didn't stick specifically to consoles. I actually moved over to I'm like, well, games are everywhere, right? So my first one on my list is actually a mobile game called something you guys may have heard of it, Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Green Nerd?
And Angry Birds, and I feel like Angry Birds was extremely overrated.
Oh, don't worry, Cage. We'll get to that.
Mostly in the sense that it was based off games that already existed. It wasn't even an original idea. You know, it wasn't something that it's kind of like this 2048 thing where it's based off of threes. You know, it's something that's so like explicitly based off of something. I remember my brother playing a game. It was like a catapult game where you had to launch something into blocks and knock over the castle. And then Angry Birds came out not too long after. And I'm like, this is clearly just a ripoff of it. But then it got so huge. And I played it a bit too, but like it was something that I had seen already, right? And that's my biggest issue is I think if I hadn't seen the fact that it was based off something already, it was kind of a ripoff. I may have been less upset about it, but I just didn't get the fad with it. I played one of the Angry Birds, and I think there's like 200 versions of Angry Birds out now. Like there's like Rio, Star Wars, all these different ones that I was just not feeling. So Angry Birds is. Did you guys ever play Angry Birds?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't really stand it.
So okay, so I'm not the only one on this.
No, we'll back you on this one.
Yeah, Cage. As Charles said, we'll get to that in a few.
Don't worry, some of that's on my list.
Since viewers can see it anyways, I'll list. Well, Cage.
Yeah, we'll hit it now.
Cage said the Call of Duty franchise and Halo are way too overrated. Here's the thing we also got to look at too is overrated doesn't necessarily mean bad. but it just means it's way overrated. Again, I think Call of Duty is definitely overrated, but I wouldn't say it's bad in my sense because I still play it. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think about Call of Duty?
Call of Duty is overrated. I don't like the game series. I like their older stuff, but their newer stuff is just generic arcade modern war shooter. And they release the same thing every single year.
And that's where I kind of have to disagree. Is that yeah, it's the same formula, but the thing is that's what works, and that's what people expect. Call of Duty has evolved beyond making a new experience every year, and it's gotten to the point where it's designed almost specifically on an esports mentality. It's designed because what they have now works, but they want to update certain mechanics here and there, and that's very apparent with the new one with Ghost. Is that you can tell just based off some of the things they tweaked here and there that it is an inferior game to any of the ones that came before it. And I understand totally that it's way overhyped. So many people talk about it, and so many people play it. And I get your point that to most people it looks like the same game, but I think it's because people look at it in a different light. I look at it as a new iteration into an esports series, right? It's designed to be the same thing every year. That's the point of it. They don't want it to change too much, otherwise it would completely destroy the ecosystem that it has with competitive gaming. And I think that's the difference. The reason I enjoy Call of Duty over some of my friends, and the reason it gets bashed so much, is that a lot of people look at it at full game that's supposed to change, whereas I don't think it's supposed to.
I'm gonna debate the Halo one though.
I will also debate the Halo one.
Yeah, I will stand against the Halo one. While a lot of modern games are based on the Halo formula of you can only hold two weapons, despite the fact that you're a super soldier, or despite the fact that you have an extra dimensional space, or despite the fact that you have this, like you can only hold two weapons. Pick your two weapons. Halo did that, I assume, for balancing purposes, because if you had access to every gun in the game would be too easy.
Yeah.
The games that they've released every year have, since then, have had significant significant changes to the game, significant changes to the mechanics, significant changes to the weapons, the story. It's a story-based shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say the same about Call of Duty, though, because Call of Duty is the same game every year. But that's me.
And the difference is that if I were to pick story between the two, it would definitely be, and I don't play them religiously or anything, but I would say Halo has the better story ultimately, and I would give online play to Call of Duty, but the better story definitely goes to Halo because they do focus like that story. They have books and stuff. They have a lot of backlore to it.
Movies.
And it's. I think there's a lot more going on in that universe. I think it helps the fact that it's universe, whereas Call of Duty is stuck to Earth. But I'd say the better story goes to Halo for sure. And I honestly enjoy playing the Halo series. I think they do get a little overhyped sometimes, a little overrated. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing ever. But I think if they're great games, I don't think they're the greatest things ever. But I think they get a little extra hype over what they should. So if we're in that sense, I'd say yeah, they're a little overrated. But they are great games. Again, it doesn't mean they're bad games. Eric, do you have a game that you want to throw in there that you think's overrated?
Well, I was going to mention Halo. I'm also a game that I think is series too that I think is extremely overrated is Gears of War.
Yeah. I'll agree with the Gears of War on the sense that it took a lot of inspiration from Halo and then just did nothing with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree on the sense that I think Gears of War is just a terrible game, to be honest.
I think that's where I'm at. But I agree with Charles too. It definitely stole a lot of platforming ideas from from all over the industry, I think, and the game is just not fun. Like the hordes thing gets tiring after like 15 minutes. The weapons, the controls, I mean, like, it's
The
just
controls were atrocious. Actually, I have a series on my YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/tayleaf and look up my drunk gaming ones, we did a Gears of War one, and the entire video is just us chainsawing people because that's the only enjoyable thing we found because we got so bored with the mechanics. Me and my buddy, when we first played the first Gears of War, we played for approximately 20 minutes before we both put the controller down and said, "Let's go play Far Cry." Like it's just from the controls down to just the art style was generic Unreal Tournament style artwork. Like it didn't appeal. The only good thing I'd say about the Gears of War was when the first trailer came out that had Mad World playing over top of it. That was a good trailer, and I'll give it that. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Gary Jules or
Yeah, Gary Jules, Mad World, and it was playing over the Gears guy running away from a big monster. That was a great trailer, but besides that, the game I just couldn't. So Charles, if you want to give us another one.
all right. Let's see what I wrote down. Already done. Already done. Real-time strategy games, kind of. This is less an overrated and more of a personal experience. I have a lot of friends that are a significant amount of friends, like maybe like 15 or so, that are just like, you need to play StarCraft, and you need to play it all of the time, and you need to get good at this game. I'm just like, how do I even control 6 workers? I don't even understand how to play this game.
So it's less RTS than it is StarCraft.
Well,
It's
StarCraft in particular, because you need to get good at StarCraft. But also RTS in general, because I'm just shit at base building and army management.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't. It's kind of hard that you say RTS because I wouldn't say every RTS game gets overrated, really. Like,
Yeah, but the StarCraft series in particular is just, like, particularly StarCraft 2 even, they turned it into much more arcade, so it's much more fast-paced. It's a great game for high-level play. It's a great tournament game, and it's a great thing to watch, but as for trying to play it, I feel awful anytime I try to play it, and the way that they intend for you to play it is jump into the ladder and put your online reputation at risk here.
yeah.
Hope you can, at some point, someday, get out of Bronze League.
I'd say the only RTS I actually really played was Warcraft 3. And I really want a Warcraft 4. I would play the crap out of that. Yeah, I would play the crap out of those. Sheep Tag for the win. Okay, RTS games. You just don't like them.
Yeah, I just don't like them.
I'll throw out my next one. I'm gonna say my top 2 are gonna get a lot of hate, but my next one I'm gonna have to say I haven't played any of the newer ones just because I couldn't get past the first one. But BioShock, the original BioShock, I played for about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I'm like, nothing's changed. It was terribly paced. The game, it gave you everything in the beginning. Every game mechanic that you were going to come to happened within the first 45 minutes. All your powers, the people you'd be fighting, all these things happened within the first 45 minutes. And after that, there was nothing new to look forward to. It was just story-driven at that point, and it just wasn't that enthralling to me. I didn't find the story that, it didn't pull me in that much. So if I don't have any new mechanics to look forward to, and the story's not that impressive, it didn't pull me in. I didn't think it was that great. And I didn't play any of the new ones because they just kind of looked like the same thing to me.
Try BioShock Infinite.
And I was about to say I might have to try Infinite because I've heard from people that it is a little different. It stepped away from that formula. Just wasn't a fan of BioShocks. The original ones, or the first 2. Cage says Octodad's kind of out there too. Octodad is amazing, so don't even try to say anything. Don't be fronting, son. I will smack you. Octodad is incredible, and I'm hopefully putting a let's play of that up soon.
I need to see this let's play then.
Yeah, you should.
Now that the PS4 has full editing tools right on it, I don't even need my computer anymore. I can just edit it and upload
Why
it
haven't
straight.
you done it yet?
Because of time, man.
Because reasons.
Because reasons. Yeah, so it's awesome. So yeah. Eric, is there any other ones you want to throw out?
I had a bunch when I was thinking about it. Let's go for a little walk here. I'm gonna go over to my little tower of games that I have.
My little tower of games.
But aren't you watching hockey?
I am. I multitask. That's part of my job.
Watch everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's see. Dead Island was good. I liked you. I like Dead Space. I like Darksiders. Mass Effect. Well, do we need to talk about Fable?
Yeah, you can talk about Fable. Go
That is
nuts.
a perfect one to throw in there, to be
That
honest.
is perfect. Go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that one was more overrated than it was overhyped, because I'm pretty sure everyone that got the game is on the same base that we're on right now, where it's like, it wasn't as good as it was supposed to be, and I'm pretty sure that's the same opinion of everybody.
Isn't that the Peter Molyneux effect?
Yeah, I'd go with more overhyped than overrated.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Fable 3 right now, and this one was awful.
I love
This is terrible. Why do I still have it in my house?
Yeah, I don't know why I saw that.
So when Brody asked you if you had anything that you wanted to throw out, he actually meant throw out.
Yeah,
Into the garbage.
that's gonna have to go in the trash.
Go over to your shelf and start checking things.
Yeah, is this worth playing? Is this game any good?
What is it?
Fear 2.
Lost Chapters? Or Fear? Oh, Fear 2.
I remember it being very scary.
Never played it.
And I also, or maybe that was Fear 3. And I also remember the AI mechanics to be, I think I talked about this before, some of the best AI mechanics that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, they would shoot out a window and then dive through it so that they could get cover because there was no cover. Like, it was the smartest AI I've ever seen. Yeah, I would play that. If you like scary games.
I love scary games.
Well, there you go. Well, you keep searching. I'm going to throw out another one here. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack, especially from...
You're going to get it, because I think I know what that short form stands for.
I think I do. Okay, you know what? I'm going to let you go first then.
No. You do it.
Okay.
You do it. You're going to get flack.
Okay. Well, the ZDA on my notes here that he's looking at stands for Zelda.
Of course it does. Fuck you, Brody. Fuck you. Well, okay. Granted, they haven't done very many new things with the game. I'm hoping that their like ridiculously expansive and expensive Zelda game that they plan on releasing at some point mixes things up a little bit. But they've been running on the same stale story hook every single time they release a game. That doesn't mean the games aren't fun. I love the games.
Yeah,
but
and
Brody doesn't.
Yeah, apparently. The last one I played was Ocarina of Time on my 3DS, and I think the only reason I super enjoyed it at the time, that I told people, hey, it's really good, is because it was the novelty of the 3D and a full game that I could play in 3D, and that worked. And I don't know, something just doesn't keep me pulled in to it. It's just.
Have you played A Link Between Worlds?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll have to lend that game to you.
Okay.
They do something really neat. Their gimmick for that game is actually really neat.
See, that's the thing is, do you want it really to be a gimmick, or do you want it to be a mechanic that the game's based on?
It's less a gimmick and more a mechanic. Some people think that it's a gimmick, but it's a mechanic.
And
Like
that's
fusing onto a wall and being able to use that to traverse dungeons, as well as using that as a combat, like defensive option, because you can't hurt a painting.
yeah,
That's
and that's where I'm
handle.
kind of getting at though is like, you know, is it gimmicks that they base these games off of? And that's again, you're not going to agree with anything I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying is
Oh,
these
definitely.
games,
Some of
they
the
do-
things that they do are extremely gimmicky.
yeah, and is that why they're selling and based off the fact that people loved Zelda games from before, right?
Well,
So
people love Zelda games, so like they'll buy Zelda games.
yeah, and that's the thing is that's where my overrated consensus comes from is that I don't know, they feel like
Well,
they're almost the same thing and there's a gimmick thrown in each time.
I played Spirit Tracks and I played Phantom Hourglass. Those
Uh-huh.
were gimmicky.
Yeah.
Those
I-
felt like gimmicks.
I enjoyed Phantom Hourglass a little bit.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the game. Like, I like both of them, but they felt gimmicky.
yeah.
Like the new mechanics or the new things that they introduced to the game, like the sailing or the train riding, where it's just like forced sort of transportation that's just like, this is just drawing out the actual playtime of the game.
Yeah. You're right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's Zelda. I'm not saying they're terrible games or anything. I'm just saying I just never really got into them. I thought, they're put way high, on a pedestal higher than I think they should have been put on.
Well, let's see
again,
what happens with their new one that they want to release way later.
We'll have to see it. And I think a lot of my issue stems from Nintendo and the fact that they do this with all their series. Look at Mario, man. How many freaking Mario games are there?
How many fucking Mario games are there where they have like one gimmicky mechanic that they use for like two levels? And they're like, wasn't that fun?
Yeah, I actually kind of want to look up how many Mario games there are now.
Too many.
Yeah, let's find out how many Mario games.
You might have to be careful with that search because Mario Party and Mario Sports might actually show up in there.
The answer.
I'd say there's over 100.
No, the answer is over 9,000. No, it's. Is there any way to tally this?
Is there any way to filter the results?
There's the number has not been updated on the Wikipedia page, but there is a full list here if anybody wants to see it, all the way up to the year 2014. Yeah. Game list. Yeah, there's no numbers yet, but okay, I'm gonna have to count that out for myself later. There is.
Let us know next week.
There are well over, I'd say probably 200 games maybe with him in it. A lot of them are Donkey Kong. But yeah, so those are that's my next one, Zelda. Cage says Fear 3 is better. Oh, Eric's not in here to hear that.
Bye, Eric.
Okay, say your next. What's your next one? I saw you have one more on there.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh God, Civ.
Civ.
I've tried to play Civ. I really have. I can't. I just can't care. There's just not enough caring for a game with that kind of pacing.
Now,
I am
forgive
not
me
patient.
if I'm wrong, but doesn't that fall under the same premise of RTS?
No, because it's turn-based strategy.
Oh. Yeah, I've never played a Civ game in my life, so that's where my missing.
It's turn-based as opposed to real-time.
Yeah, it's
So we can go ahead and group all strategy games on there because I don't like to think when I play video games. No.
I just liked it. Well, Call of Duty is perfect for you then.
Yeah, I know.
Civ, yeah, no, I never play them, so I'm gonna have to be right there along with you. I just never got pulled into it, and I wouldn't be able to be pulled into a turn-based game like that. I think that's actually why I never got into Final Fantasy a lot, is because I couldn't stand. I saw my friends playing, I just didn't like the idea of turn-based.
Well, turn-based combat is okay because it's over really quick, but try playing a game of turn-based Civilization where there's 6 people playing and each person has to plan out what each city is doing for all of their action steps, and what are all of their workers and all of their units and all of their armies
So
are all
basically,
doing for all of their action steps.
I should play Civ first, and then play Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy will seem faster.
Yeah, basically.
There's the strategy.
No, just play the Final Fantasy game on full active and have your ass handed to you.
Yeah. Eric, did you find any more?
There was one other one in here that I was looking at. I liked Saints Row. Sleeping Dogs is good. How about Need for Speed Underground?
You think that was overrated?
Games are terrible.
Well, I think all the Need for Speed games are overrated.
Oh, and this is where I get to disagree.
Yay! Brody disagrees.
I think Need for Speed Underground was the pinnacle of the series, man. Like, that was a phenomenal game. And that soundtrack to the windows. I thought it was just a great experience. Like,
Did you say phenomenal?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. It was a phenomenal game, and I thought it was great. Like, the racing was fun, fast, and the style of it was great. You know, everything's neon at night. They had different modes. You could do your drag races. You could do your drifts, and it was one of the first that had a lot of those. I don't know much other games that have those different challenges to them now, where you do drift challenges, you do all these different things, and those were fun. Like, having a small drift tournament with my buddies and RX 7s, like, those were the days, man. Those were phenomenal times, fucking up adult times.
Should we check in with the cage ticker on the side?
The cage ticker, yeah. Cage Von Reaper says Need for Speed Rivals is great. I have Rivals, and I think it's a $30 game. So that's where him and me disagree. Is that I think, yeah, it's a game that you could buy, but I wouldn't pay more than $30 for it. It was
Get it on sale.
It was, as I forget who was saying it, but someone was saying anything that's Criterion has done. I think it was Story was saying that they don't like what Criterion has done with the games, and I was gonna say I don't not like it. I just think it's not Need for Speed anymore. Is basically it, right? You know, you need the other team on it. But yeah, Need for Speed. That's a good pick, because those are very highly rated. I'd say, you know, a lot of people like them, but I do too. Why didn't you like the Need for Speed games then?
I just didn't like any, really. I mean, the last was that no. You know, the games that I really enjoyed were like the Gran Turismo games.
Okay, so you like the simulators over like the racers?
I liked a little bit, yeah. I mean, they're fun. The racers are fun. Don't get me wrong, but they really get old quick. And I understand that it's hard to make a game of substance, you know, of driving and everything like that. But for me, the Gran Turismo games came through with that, where you know you were racing and doing all these crazy things to unlock new cars and parts for your car. You know, and you were able to really customize and modify to you were able to set aerodynamic. You know what I mean? Like you went really in depth with those games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's why I personally enjoyed Need for Speed Underground, was because you could do a lot of those things, not to the same extent, but you had the ability to modify a car, even through visual or through performance, but it still had that nice arcadey element of driving, and instead of being a simulator. I actually remember playing Gran Turismo 3, and I was bored of it because of the colors and the speed I was used to from Need for Speed Underground, and I actually couldn't play the Gran Turismo games just because I didn't want to play car simulator. I didn't really care about the cars. I just wanted to drive fast. I think that's the difference between us and between the games. Right. Cool. All right, I'm gonna get on to my last one then. To wrap it up, I think everybody's gotten theirs done. The last one, my grand finale, and maybe you guys won't give me flack, but I know other people that would for this one. But my I think most overrated game has to be Half-Life.
Ah, yes.
Now, do you either you two play Half-Life and enjoy Half-Life?
I played Half-Life back in the day. You know, I started playing Half-Life back when it first came out, where, you know, your options at the time were like World of Warcraft, Diablo 2. You know what was a great game that I played back then? Do you remember Soldier of Fortune?
I do.
Or did you ever play
it? I didn't play it, but I do remember it.
It was the first game I remember where like you could like blow someone's like limbs off, and I remember being like so like just just blown away by that. Where it's like, I just shot that. You know, it wasn't like you shot them in like Doom and they died and some blood splat out. Like people's like arms would blow off and legs would blow off, and I was just like, oh my god, like that's just awesome.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, but I played the very first Half-Life and I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, for me it was just, I've said this before, but I think the games, you just feel like you're not going towards something, you're running away from things all the time, and I'm just like, there's no action. There's so much time between certain points that nothing's happening. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't know if it's just because I've come up. No, it's not. I was going to say indoctrined from games like Call of Duty where there's always explosions all the time, but it's not, because I play slower games. Like, you know, I look at games like you know, Last of Us or puzzle games or stuff like that where there isn't always something crazy happening, but there's still something there to pull you in. And that from Half-Life, it just wasn't doing it. It was a bland environment, and it was just nothing happening half the time, and that was my issue with it. Charles, did you ever play Half-Life?
Which Half-Life? I didn't play Half-Life 1. I played Half-Life 2.
And what did you think?
It was okay.
It was okay. So you're kind of on the boat that it was overrated.
Well, I honestly don't know. I played it so long ago, and I played through the entire game. But then I played through the entire game, got to segments where there was vehicle sections. And the vehicle sections just drew the game out for me, and when I finally got to the end stage of Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, I didn't actually finish it. I just gave up. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I still playing this game?
Exactly. So I think we're kind of on the consensus that, you know, that series is overhyped, and especially HL3 if that ever happens.
Half-Life 3 ever happens, it's going to go the way of Duke Nukem Forever.
Where it was way too... I don't think it'll be that bad. I think we got to give a little more credit than that. Like, as much as I do think it's overhyped.
Well, nowadays it's gonna get it's gonna oust Duke Nukem Forever for the Vaporware Award.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's if it does come out though, I think it's gonna be. Hopefully it'll be a different thing. Who knows? But I think up to this point, way overhyped and way overrated. Way overrated for my liking. But yeah, that's the top one on my list there. So those are our overrated games. If you guys are tuning into the YouTube stream, make sure you guys post in the comments below what you guys think is your most overrated game that other people seem to love, but you're just like, I don't get it. Why? Down, yeah, underneath the like and subscribe button. But yeah, so that's I think pretty much it. We're gonna wrap up after this point. That's been our news and our discussion topic. We do this every week, 7 p.m. EDT, or whatever time you guys are in. I think we usually do. What New Jersey? What's the time zone there?
EDT.
It's 8:30.
Oh, so it is the same as us. It is EDT. Cool. Well, 7 p.m. EDT, and we like to answer questions from you guys and talk to you guys. As we saw there, we had a couple people joining in and discussing with us. So make sure you guys do that in the live Q&A session or on YouTube. Just put it in the comments underneath as I said, the like and subscribe button. But we're going to sign off now because the sun's gone down and my computer light is making me look like a ghost. and I don't like this complexion.
Get Flux.
It's not my best side.
You should,
No,
you
then
should
it's
just get
just
Flux and install it on your computer. Then it gives a nice oranger glow. Which
I
gives
don't
you
get
more
I don't get that vitamin D usually, so I use my computer screen to get my vitamin D. I can't
You
use
get like
Flux to turn it on.
ultraviolet, like LCD display that just like emits ultraviolet radiation onto your face, so you actually get sunburnt. It's like, yeah, I tan. I go to the beach. I work out. I'm in the tanning salon all
I
the
have
time. It's just
cured-
like your computer.
I have cured gamer complexion. Well, I'm gonna get on that. I need an engineering team. Let's do this. Start a Kickstarter.
Kickstarter,
But,
UV monitors.
Exactly. But yeah, so this is Gamers Roundtable. Make sure you go to youtube.com/Gamers Roundtable, or youtube.com/Gamers Roundtable Show, and you can make sure you watch all our older videos. We're also hopefully going to have this up on iTunes very soon. I'm looking at getting that done very soon, hopefully in the next couple days, so you can actually listen to us on iTunes and download our podcast that way. So I think that'd be pretty sweet. So you don't have to look at us; you can just listen to us on your iPods or whatever MP3 players you have. But we're gonna say goodbye to everybody. Down at the other end, Charles, thanks for coming out and joining once again.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And you can follow Charles at CStovetop on Twitter, or follow him on twitch.tv/CStove. You can see it right under his face right there. So make sure you follow him. He plays video games and stuff.
The usual promise to tweet more and stream more.
There we go. And next to him, Eric, can you unmute your mic? I muted you because your typing is super loud. You sounded like Godzilla over there. But Eric, thanks for coming out. And
like Japanese Godzilla or like American Godzilla?
Train is going by right now, so that's what that noise is.
He's got vehicles and jet engines and airplanes crashing into his place.
Oh
But
my.
thanks for coming out, Eric. And you can follow Eric on Twitter at EricMiller_3, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Is that exactly it?
No, it's just Eric Miller 3.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Follow him on Twitter. He also plays video games and stuff and talks about other things. And the final introduction of myself is the outroduction. I myself am LeafX. You can follow me on Twitter at LeafX. And make sure, again, go youtube.com/Gamers Roundtable Show and subscribe to that. Make sure you give a like. Check out the rest of our videos and comment on those. But join us next week, 7 p.m. EDT, because we do the same thing once again. Well, not the same thing. We talk about different stuff, but the same idea. But until next time, keep gaming hard.